Welcome to the podcast, the millionaire of the time of the times. The millionaire of the diamond. So we want it to transform the way you lead, influence, and show up everywhere. Today we're going to be talking about enthusiasm, not a personality trait, but a powerful leadership tool. I'm going to begin by sharing what more than 43 years have taught me in business: purpose, belief, action, and enthusiasm, and really in that order. And Melanie Miller is going to take us through with the science. Why is enthusiasm contagious? And of course, Marie-Pierre will be asking us questions where we're going to be brought to think about how we show up. Are we changing the energy of the room? This is the big thing. So listen to discover what you may need to do differently as of today's podcast, because inspiration can change how you feel for the moment, but transformation changes how you show up from this moment on. So, Marie-Pierre, before we go ahead, I think we're going to need to share this with everybody that I know and that you want to ask them if they're in a good mood, and they're going to say yes, and then you want to tell them, well, tell your face, because it doesn't seem to be aware. You get it, guys? Okay. And we have a few people we know that need to hear this podcast. So Marie-Pierre, over to you.
Okay, so yes, we want to make sure that we share everywhere. So you click on the arrow just beside where you write your comment. So you can share on every social media platform, and you have the text in the comment that you can copy paste. So people understand why they should listen to the podcast this morning. And after that, of course, we have the way that you can send it by messenger or text message. So those one-on-one. So and when you have someone that really needs to hear that, that's the best way to make sure they will click on the link and listen to the podcast this morning. And then we have our contest, Les Millionnaires du Diamant. So first, when you go on our Facebook group, Les Millionnaires du Diamant Inspirational Group, every time you post, every time you react, every time you comment on the group, you gain point during the month to be in the top 10 contributor. And at the end of the month, the official top 10 get a voucher to go shop on the boutique Les Millionnaires du Diamant. And this morning, we have the top 10 month to date. So
Yes.
yes, you have until the end of the month, but today we have month to date. So number 10, we have Gabrielle Jen. Number 9, we have Natalie Brochu. Number 8, Sherry Novak. Number 7, the page Chill Vibe. Number 6, Nadia Badam. Number 5, the page Echo of Hope. Number 4, Kendra
Is
Sipigato.
that Echo of Hope? Is that the AI page?
Yes, it's people that using AI to do their page. Yeah.
And how does that work?
That means that people that don't want to show their faces, so they
Okay.
will use AI to create content. Yeah. So it's a
Mm.
page only AI. You won't see any person, but it's all really inspiring what they are posting. Yeah.
Okay, so they're using our page to post their info.
They have their page and then they share it on our inspirational groups. Yeah.
Love it. Thank
Yeah.
you. AI, Echo, whatever.
Okay, number 4, we have Kendra Sepingason. Number 3, Lise Boucher. Number 2, Louis Gauthier. And number 1, Martin Reyes. So, congratulations to our top 10 month to date. Again, you have until the end of the month to be in the top 10. Then we have a draw at the end of each month to be in the draw. There's two ways. First, with the boutique. So, when you go and you place your order, when you receive your order, make sure you always take a picture and you post on social media and tag the page Limiana de Diamant. And then with the books, Limiana de Diamant, same thing. So receive one of the book, you take a picture. You're reading one of the book, you take a picture. You're doing one of the quiz book, you take a picture. You're doing one of the workbook, you take a picture. You're using the agenda Limiana Dema, you take a picture and you post on social media and you tag Limiana Dema to be in the draw at the end of the month. And if you don't already have your ticket for the next conference, it's time to click on the link to get your ticket to be with us. It's a virtual conference, so you can join us from all around the world. And even if the time is not right for you, you can watch it in replay, but you need your ticket first. So make sure you click on the link to get your ticket. And for those that want to be in person, we still have some place. So it's limited space. Make sure that you send me a message as soon as you get your ticket so I can reserve your spot in the studio. And last thing, Just to heads up, we will have the new agenda 2020, 27 that will coming up in September. So be ready to order your new agenda for 2027.
Thank you so much. So let's dive in right away, right away. And you know, Marie Pierre, in case Melanie Miller can't show up, we're going to need her notes. I love it. Okay, so before we begin, I want you to think about something, okay? What if I told you that one of the most powerful tools you have to influence people doesn't cost anything? You don't have to buy, you don't have to learn some complicated technique, you don't need a title to use it, but it can change the way people listen to you, the way they respond to you, the way they believe in you, and sometimes even the way they believe in themselves. And the fascinating part is this: you are already using it every single day. Are you leaning in? Are you listening? Haha. The question is whether you're using it consciously or not. Because today we're going to talk about enthusiasm, but not the kind of enthusiasm of being loud, obnoxious. You know, those people, shut up. You're disturbing the peace. I'm not talking about that at all. Not jumping up and down, not pretending everything is wonderful and we look like idiots because not everything is wonderful type of thing. Okay. We're going to talk about enthusiasm as a form of leadership and influence in your families, as moms, as dads, in your community, if you're part of a church. This is what we're talking about. Because at the end of the day, this podcast, I want you to understand something that could completely change the way you walk into a room as of today, the way you lead your team as of today, the way you speak to a customer as of today, the way you speak to your family as of today. Um, uh, you know, it's an opportunity. Understanding enthusiasm is a huge opportunity to improve the quality of life we are living every single day. Okay, so people hear words, but they feel your belief, right? And sometimes what they feel from you is more powerful than anything you could possibly say. So let me ask you something. Would you buy from you? Okay, that's a question, right? Would you buy from you? Yes. I would buy from Maria. Absolutely. Imagine I showed you the greatest opportunity in the world and I said, "Well, it's pretty good. You could probably try it. I don't know. Maybe you'll like it. Would you want it?" Of course not, right? There's so many half empty glasses in the way I'm speaking right now, right? The glass is always half empty. Now, imagine I looked at you and said, "I cannot wait to show you this. This changed the way I do things. And I think you're going to love what it can do for you." Same opportunity, same product, same business. Maybe even the exact same words on the brochure, but something completely different happened. Different energy, different influence. Why? Because people don't only hear what you say, they feel whether or not you believe what you're saying. And that brings me to something people could reasonably ask you. They ask me, "Maria, after more than 43 years, how can you possibly still be excited about Tupperware? 43 years. How can you still talk about it with enthusiasm?" And my answer today is very different than it might have been maybe when I was 18 years old. Because after 43 years, I'm not simply excited about the bowls, I'm excited about the mission behind the bowl. It's all about that. I'm excited how I can help somebody save money. I'm excited about how I can help somebody eat better. I'm excited about how I can help bringing the family to the table. "Maria, I'm finally getting control of my kitchen." That's what I want to hear. I love hearing the testimonials like Carolyn Tata this week, where she said, "Thanks to Tupperware, the Diamonds, this happened. I've been traveling. I brought my daughter on this trip. Things I could not have done if I hadn't joined the Tupperware, the Diamonds community." I'm excited when consultants earns additional income and realizes, "I can do this because I chose this opportunity." Purpose. What you're listening here to now is purpose, because maybe when your enthusiasm disappears, the first question should be, how do I get motivated again? Shouldn't be how I get motivated again. It should be, have I disconnected from my purpose? You see, the match and the fire. Now, if you want to be on fire all the time, you need to be purpose, uh, um, um, purpose driven, right? That is the gas that you keep pouring on the fire you have already. Purpose. Purpose is the fuel. Action creates the friction, and enthusiasm becomes the fire. Now, you have to understand the opposite also spreads, right? You may be leveling down, you may be talking in words of the glass half empty. That too will spread. So when I walk into a room, my new thing right now is to make sure I take my pictures before. I get to say my hellos before, because what I'm actually doing is changing the atmosphere before we begin the event. I am purpose driven. No matter what we've been through in our company, there is one thing I still believe in, and this is the most amazing platform to build the people, to make them become who they need to become to achieve their next level of success, with Tupperware or without Tupperware. For many, it's a springboard. Enthusiasm doesn't deny reality. I'm not talking about, whoa, no. What it does, it brings the energy to possibility. $25 per household in Canada. That's over $300 million of sales. I'll do it when I'm motivated. No, I'll do it right now. Action creates enthusiasm. So one of the things I wrote down here, every morning, get up, get dressed, show up, make the first call, push that camera, start the meeting, begin cooking, take the next step. Because if you wait for enthusiasm to get started, it's never going to happen. I need you to understand, enthusiasm and energy show up after you've begun action. So always, 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 I say, people, you're suffering from depression. Try to feel depressed going down a water slide. Action, you see, that doesn't heal depression, but makes you be able to pass that depression wall, at least for now. Okay, go down that water slide and tell me if you feel anxiety. No, you don't. You feel excitement. You feel dopamine. You feel the next level. And that brings me to the science, okay? So I don't know Melanie Miller's notes, but rapidly, what I looked at when I was looking at the science behind that, let me just look at my notes. It says here, I'm sure it's going to talk about dopamine. Yes, there we go. Okay, number one, dopamine is not simply a pleasure chemical. You've probably heard dopamine described as the chemical of pleasure. Absolutely. That's an oversimplification of the word dopamine. Dopamine is heavily involved in motivation, learning, reward prediction, and pursuing something we believe may be rewarding. So when I get into action, that's exactly what happens. My dopamine kicks in. And when my dopamine kicks in, then magic happens. Is Melanie Miller here? Ah, amen. I was beginning the science part because I knew it had to deal with dopamine. And then you show up and I'm going, amen. So, Melanie, I'm going to leave it in your hands for the part of the science of enthusiasm.
Okay. Problem this morning connecting my camera. I don't know why. Nothing changed between last night and this morning. Okay, thank you, Maria. I'm assuming Maria's just introduced to you the topic, which is lack of enthusiasm. And I think we need to be very clear about what enthusiasm actually means. It doesn't mean being loud or being the person with the biggest personality in the room. It certainly does not mean jumping up and down with excitement. That would not describe me at all. Yet people have told me that I'm clearly enthusiastic about what I do. I think the reason is quite simple. I believe in what I'm doing. I enjoy talking about it. I believe I can help people through it. For me, enthusiasm comes very naturally when I'm doing what is connected to my purpose. This raises an interesting question. What creates enthusiasm? Why do some people seem genuinely excited and engaged by what they do, while others appear to have lost that spark completely? Once again, psychology and neuroscience can help us understand. One of the important chemicals involved in motivation is dopamine. We often think of dopamine as something that the brain releases when we receive a reward. The story is more interesting than that. Dopamine is strongly involved in anticipation, motivation, and learning. When the brain believes that something worthwhile may happen, dopamine helps us encourage us to act towards it. This is why having something to look forward to can be so energizing. Perhaps we have a new recruit, yay, or are planning an event. Perhaps we are trying a new way of reaching customers and can see ourselves getting closer to an important goal. The brain begins to say, this could lead somewhere. That anticipation creates motivation. This also explains why people can lose enthusiasm when they work for a long time without seeing results. If repeated effort appears to produce nothing, the brain begins to question whether continuing to invest energy is worthwhile. The enthusiasm starts to disappear. This is where something we have discussed many times becomes incredibly important: tracking. We do not have to achieve the final goal before the brain experiences reward. Seeing progress can itself be motivating. Suppose your goal is 3,000 in sales. If all you see is the 3,000 target, you may feel as though you are still a long way away. However, if you track your progress and see 500, 900, 1,400, 2,000, your brain receives evidence that your actions are working. Progress becomes visible that can help maintain motivation and encourage the next action. Perhaps one of the reasons people lose enthusiasm is not that they are making no progress, they simply cannot see the progress they are making. Of course, tracking can tell us the opposite as well. If there generally is no progress, we need to know that too. Enthusiasm should not mean blindly convincing ourselves that everything is wonderful. Real enthusiasm can include looking honestly at the evidence and asking, what do I need to change? There is also another fascinating part of enthusiasm. It affects other people. Psychologists call this emotional contagion. Human beings constantly read one another. We notice facial expressions, tone of voice, posture, eye contact, speed of speech, the amount of attention someone gives us. Much of this happens without conscious thought. If someone talks about something with genuine interest, we tend to become more interested ourselves. If someone sounds bored by what they are saying, we notice that too. Our brains contain systems that help us recognize and internally simulate the actions and emotions of other people. Mirror neuron research is one part of this much larger social processing system. This helps explain why the emotional state of a leader can spread through a team. A leader does not have to be loud to communicate enthusiasm. A calm leader who says, I genuinely believe we can do this, and whose actions consistently support those words, can have an enormous effect on people around them. People do not only listen to our enthusiasm, they experience it. There's another side to this relationship. We usually assume that we feel enthusiastic first and behave enthusiastically afterwards. Sometimes the process can work in the opposite direction. Our physical behavior feeds information back to the brain. Movement can increase alertness. Changing our environment can change our level of simulation. Speaking with greater intention can increase engagement. Taking the first action can change how we feel about a task. This is related to a psychological approach known as behavioral activation. We do not always have to wait until we feel motivated before we act. Sometimes we act first and motivation follows. Think about exercise. There are certainly days when I do not particularly feel like going for a run. Once I put my shoes on, leave the house, and begin moving, however, my state changes. The action helps create the feeling. The same principle can apply to our work. Do not only try to think your way into enthusiasm, sometimes you must behave your way towards it. This brings me back to the purpose. It is much easier to maintain enthusiasm when we understand why something matters to us. If my only reason for working was I need to sell another $500 of Tupperware, I'm not sure that would sustain my enthusiasm for very long. If I see those same activities as helping somebody save money, eat more healthily, organize their kitchen, build an income, or discover what they themselves are capable of, the activity has a completely different meaning. Purpose connects today's action to something larger. Psychologically, meaningful work tends to support stronger intrinsic motivation. We are no longer acting solely for the external reward. We are doing something because it matters to us. That type of enthusiasm can be very quiet. People still recognize it, they hear it in your voice, they see it in your consistency. They recognize it in the fact 20 years later you are still interested enough to learn something new. I think the encouraging answer to the question, can we create enthusiasm, is yes. We may not be able to command ourselves, be enthusiastic. We can, however, create conditions that make enthusiasm more likely. There are three very simple things we can do. First, reconnect to meaning. Ask yourself, why does what I'm doing matter? Second, create visible progress. Track something. Give your brain evidence that your effort is taking you somewhere. Third, change your physical state and take the first action. Stand up, move, make the call, write the first paragraph, contact the first customer, do something. Very often, energy follows action. Perhaps Napoleon's Hill concern about lack of enthusiasm was not simply about people being insufficiently excited. Perhaps he understood that when we lose enthusiasm, we lose one of the forces that keeps us moving forward. Enthusiasm influences our motivation, it influences our persistence, it influences the people around us. More importantly, enthusiasm does not have to be something we passively wait to feel. We can reconnect with our purpose. We can make our progress visible. We can change our physical state. We can take the first action. Perhaps enthusiasm is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is about having something inside you that says, this matters to me. When people can see that what you are doing generally matters to you, they begin to feel it too. Enthusiasm is not something we simply wait to feel. We can create the conditions that help to generate it. And over to you, Marie-Pierre, for our quiz this morning.
Thank you, Annie. So yes, let's continue with the quiz of today. And the quiz is not, are you an enthusiastic person? Because that question would be too easy. And probably most of us would say yes, because we all have things that we care about, the people that we love, the goal that we want to achieve. But today, the question is really, if I follow you around for like 7 days, will I know what you are excited about? Can we feel it? Because there's a difference between saying yes, I have goal, I'm enthusiastic, and really feeling it. So the quiz will see if that you have that real enthusiasm that it says, okay, maybe if this thing is difficult, I still believe it. Or we have challenges, but I still see possibility. It didn't work this time, but I'm excited to learn what we can do differently. So it's not to deny the reality, but it's to bring that energy to the possibility. So today, the quiz will ask what atmosphere follow you when you enter into a room. So do you bring that belief, curiosity, hope, energy, possibility, or are you waiting for everyone else to give those things to you? So let's start the quiz. So for each question, you can answer A, B, or C. So let's start, and you want to choose that and the answer that sounds most like you most of the time, not your best day, but on your normal day. So question number one. So when you talk about something that you believe in, do you A, that you know that your words are positive, but people don't really feel much excitement behind the words? B, people can usually feel that I genuinely believe in what I'm sharing. Or C, I sometimes become so intense that I overwhelm people instead of inviting them in. Question number two. When you enter a meeting or a gathering, do you A, usually wait to see what kind of energy everyone else has? B, you consciously think about the energy that you want to contribute? Or C, you feel responsible for keeping everyone excited at all time? Question number three. You have a team member or family member that is discouraged. So what do? A, their mood usually lower mine. B, I listen to what is real and then help bring attention back to possibility. Or C, I immediately try to cheer everyone up without let them express themselves. Question number four. When you notice that your own enthusiasm disappear, what do? A, I usually wait and hope that motivation will return. B, I ask what I have disconnected from and take action that will reconnect. Or C, I look for a new goal because I assume the old one must no longer matter. And question number five. If someone followed you for a week, do they A, they would probably hear more about my frustration than my mission. B, they would clearly know what I care about and why it matters to me. Or C, they might think that I'm excited about everything, whether it truly matters or not. So did you get mostly A's, mostly B's, or mostly C's? So if you have mostly A, you are the disconnected believer. So you may still care deeply, you may still believe in your goal, and that belief is not always visible anymore. So routine may have replaced that excitement, or maybe that fatigue may have replaced that curiosity. And so you are not necessarily lacking passion, but you may simply have become disconnected from the reason that the work matter in the first place. So the next step is not to force yourself to become more cheerful, but it's to ask yourself what once made this meaningful to me. So you want to reconnect with the people you have, with the progress, with your purpose. So sometimes this enthusiasm does not disappear because the mission stopped mattering, but it disappears because we stop looking at the mission. Now, if you have mostly B's, you are the visible believer. So you understand that enthusiasm is not performance. So it is a conviction that can be felt. So you can acknowledge the problem without becoming consumed by them. So you can have a difficult day and still remember what matters. So continue protecting that and remember, even strong enthusiasm needs renewal. So return regularly to the purpose behind what you do. And if you have mostly C, now you are the energy performer. So you bring a lot of energy. People may experience you as passionate, expressive, optimistic, exciting. And this can be a wonderful strength, but be careful not to confuse that enthusiasm with performance. So you do not have to energize everyone. You do not have to pretend. You don't have to turn every difficult into instant positivity, because real enthusiasm has room for truth. So you can say, okay, this is hard, and I still believe that we can find a way forward. So your opportunity is to make your enthusiasm more grounded and less about the volume, more about the conviction. So remember, it's not about being loud, but it's about that really that feeling that something really matter to you. So it doesn't require you to pretend, but if something is difficult, you can say it's difficult. If there is a problem, address the problem. But then what ask it what is really possible here, and this is where that healthy enthusiasm will live. So everything, not everything that is perfect, but this is not perfect, but I still believe that there is something that we can do. So on that, I wish you a beautiful day, and we'll see you tomorrow morning for the next podcast.